Do you want to buy a car in the UK and don't know where to start? Are you not a mechanic and want to make sure you get the very best deal? Should you buy new? Should you buy used? And how much would it even cost? The first step is to determine your budget. How much money do you think you have to spend on a car? This obviously depends on your need, the size of your family. Is it going to be a 3-seater, a 5-seater, 7-seater? How many doors is it going to be? Do you need an automatic or a manual? Cars in the UK can be surprisingly cheap. So first I'll talk about how to buy a used car and talk a little bit about a new car at the end. Make sure you watch till the end for a price comparison between a new car, a used car, and one on finance as well. Step 2 is to check websites. So for instance, Auto Trader, Cinch, Kazoo. Personally, I used Auto Trader. Cinch and Kazoo had really more expensive ones that were a bit out of my budget, I guess. But if your budget can afford that, obviously do, because those websites even deliver the cars to your door. So when I went to Auto Trader, in terms of filters, the things that I emphasized were to make sure I get a trader and not a private. That's because I was worried about buying from an individual person. I wasn't sure in case something goes wrong, how can I get accountability? Who am I going to blame? So I avoided buying from private people. I also had to look for an automatic one because I only got an automatic license, and this is the point that I realized that actually I should have just got manual. I passed my driving test recently, guys, and I want to tell you that this was way harder than I expected. I think I'll make another video on that, how to pass a driving test in the UK. So make sure you're subscribed for that. So you find the car that you love on these websites and contact them to see if it's available. Step 3 is to do a background check of the dealership. Find out if this dealership is genuine, because I found a few scammy ones. I would advise checking on the reviews on the specific website. For example, on Auto Trader, there's reviews for each one, but also go to Google reviews. You can also go to Trustpilot as well and have a look and see what other people are saying, because you'll be surprised that people will actually tell you if people have had bad experiences, then you don't want to be buying a car, having problems, and then going and checking the reviews and finding that actually you bought from a scammer. Step 4. If it looks all good, then I would advise paying for a full vehicle check. This is optional, but I highly encourage you to do so. So Auto Trader has the option of doing that. You can pay for a full vehicle check for either one car or for a set of 5. So I advise doing that set of 5. So to get a full vehicle check for only one car is about £16, and to get for about 5 cars, it's about £22. Now this really helps me because I remember we were about to buy a car once, and then as we were going to go and pick the car up, we'll go and have a test drive, of course. We did a full vehicle check and it showed that there was something wrong with the car. It showed that the car was actually on finance, which meant that the car actually belonged to the finance company and not the person trying to sell the car to us. So make sure you do a full vehicle check where they'll show you if the car has been recorded as stolen, if it's been under any accidents, and if it's been under finance, and all other things that you want to know before you buy a car. So guys, this is a step that I highly recommend you do not skip out on. If you're finding this video helpful up to this point, then please give it a like. This really supports my channel and helps it be able to make more videos. It also helps it to spread to more people who might need it. Thank you. Step 5 is to arrange to view the car and do a test drive. Please do not be buying a car without actually seeing it, without at least doing a test drive. I would consider getting a mechanic to make sure everything is fine, especially if you're not a mechanic, if you don't have much experience with cars like me. If you do and you know everything under the bonnet looks like and what it means, then obviously you're good to go. Please go ahead, you do you. But if you know you're like me, you're not really sure, then get a mechanic. There are a lot of providers online. So for instance, when I was researching for this video, I did have a look at AA's website, and they gave me a quote of about £140 to check out the car all over and make sure there was nothing wrong with it if you want to go and buy a car. So they give you a mechanic, you go with a mechanic, they check out the car, and then they let you know if there's anything you should be worried about. This is going to save you a lot of money, guys, because repairing cars in the UK can be so expensive. Step 6 is to buy and register the vehicle. So the car will have to be registered in your names. So if the car does not have a logbook yet, or that's a V5C document, then that's going to cost you £25. And if it has already, then the person who has it in their names has to transfer it to your names. Step 7 is about MOT. So there's something called the MOT, which stands for the Ministry of Transport. So they make sure that every car that's over 3 years old has to have a MOT done every year. So if the car is brand new, then you don't need a MOT. And make sure you have the MOT done, and they will tell you if the car is okay and okay to be driven. If not, arrange to have that done, and then I would be advising you should buy a car where the motor has been done recently, so that way you don't have to be doing it anytime soon, and make sure you set a reminder that you do that every year. Step 8 is to get insurance. This is something that you should be budgeting for even before you buy a car, because the insurance can be really pricey. So for instance, I only just passed my driving test recently, and I've been getting quotes for driving insurance for about £1,000, which is a bit high. And so the insurance depends on how old you are, on your history. If you have a no claims bonus, if you've been driving for a long time, then obviously your insurance is going to go lower. If you're older, the older you are, then the cheaper your insurance will be. Step 9 is to get the road tax. I know, so many fees. So you do need to have road tax if you're driving a car in the UK, and this also depends on the type of car that you have, whether the carbon emissions that it has. If it's a really old car, then the tax is going to be much higher. If it's a newer car, it's going to be cheaper. So for us, the car that we have, the road tax is about £20 per year, and the car we had before, the road tax was about £245 for the entire year. And there are cars as well that have zero road tax, so it really depends on the carbon emissions, the type of car that you have. I'm now going to compare what I found out about a similar model for a brand new car and a used car. So advantages of a brand new car is obviously it's brand new, you don't have to do a moat, it has less problems, you're unlikely to fix anything, and the biggest con obviously is the amount of money that it costs. It's obviously much more expensive. If you have enough money to buy a brand new car, then obviously you just go to the websites. You maybe go to Volkswagen, Toyota, whatever company you want, and then click buy. It's not that complicated. You don't have to go through all these other things I've been talking about. I'm now going to do a comparison of the price that can be for a new car and a brand new car. Consider going for an approved used car. This is a car that has been used. It's a brand new car that was used for a few years, and usually in that time it was used and taken to a specific garage that was approved by that company. So for instance, you buy a VW or a Toyota and you take it always to the Toyota for servicing. That's what they mean by approved used cars. So these are usually more expensive than just regular used car. So a brand new Golf 8 Volkswagen car will cost you a deposit of £6,000. So you have to first pay a deposit, and then there are monthly payments, and then there's also a final payment at the end. So for the deposits, it's about £6,000. Monthly payments are £235, and then the final payment is about 10k. So that's total payable of about £30,000 for the entire value of a car. So a 2016 Golf is £11,000, and a 2013 Golf is about £2,600. There is no lower limit, guys. So the first car we had was a Golf as well, and we got it at £600. And at the time that we got it, it was 16 years old. So it had been registered in 2003, and 16 years later is when we got it, and it was about £600. And by the time we sold it for scrap, and it was now £50. So there is no lower limit to the amount of car, to the price of the money that the car can be, and there's no upper limit as well. There can be even more and more expensive cars. So which one would you prefer? Let me know in the comments below. I'll write my answer there. A brand new Golf VW 2020 model starts from around £22,000, and you can also get this on finance if you want. So that's where you pay back money in installments, and there's an interest rate as well. That's something for you to consider. There's something else that I think is worth mentioning, and that's the NHS Fleet Solution. This is also a finance type of thing, but it's a salary sacrifice scheme. So salary sacrifice means that they deduct the money before they give it to you. That way there's no taxes and there's no NHS contributions, so that national insurance contributions are less. So that way it's much cheaper than if you go for regular finance. If you're an NHS staff and you're considering finance, I would recommend considering this as well. If you fulfill their criteria, then give it a try. So after all this is said and I've shared all my tips, I do want to say again that our first car was a Golf, and it was 16 years old when we got it. We bought it from a private seller, and it was also a category D car. I hadn't yet said that, but make sure you're avoiding category cars. So basically on paper, the car looked all wrong, but in practice, it really served us well. There can be a point in your life where that's the budget that you have, that's what you can afford, and all you need is something to take you from point A to point B. If that is you, then that is fine. Don't let anyone make you feel bad. Just get the car that you can afford, so that way you can do what you need to do instead of getting into unnecessary debt. If you do decide to buy a brand new car on finance, then you're likely going to need a good credit score. If this is you, then watch this video next.